Hello and welcome to your July 21st daily briefing. This is going to be one of my favorite updates to date. Mitch McConnell gave a speech today providing a teaser of what to expect in the upcoming Senate relief bill proposal. I think you're all going to be really happy to hear what he has to say about it. In this video, we cover the second stimulus check, paycheck protection, another round of paycheck protection, school funding, healthcare funding, and much more. Basically, an overview of what this proposal is going to include directly from McConnell's mouth. Before I get into it, please consider hitting the like button on this video. I know this is going to be a big one, and hitting the like button will help show YouTube, hey, I'm doing a good job over here, and it's going to help spread the content to a wider audience. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to go in order of how Mitch addressed the items in his speech just to kind of make this a little bit more cohesive. He started off by talking about how the CARES Act was enacted in a largely bipartisan manner and how it greatly helped the economy, but we're not done yet. We need more relief. We've just begun recovery and there's a long ways to go. He then gave an outline of his Senate Republican plan, saying the three major focus areas are kids, jobs, and healthcare. This is no surprise. He's basically said this a few times over the last month or two, so none of that's a big surprise. We know about the CARES Act. We know what his major focus areas are, so let's jump right in. First, he was talking about kids and schooling. McConnell said the goal for the fall is to have in-person schooling. However, this can only happen if it's absolutely safe to do so. He said his proposal outlines $105 billion in funding for schools and colleges. This $105 billion figure is actually up 50% from yesterday's estimate, where Republicans in the Treasury were looking at around $70 billion in funding to help support the 135,000 schools and 6,000 colleges in the country. $105 billion is a lot of funding, especially when they're trying to have a target price of around $1 trillion. That is just over 10% of the entire bill that they're looking at. It might be larger than $1 trillion. However, this is still significantly less than what the House voted in through the HEROES Act, which included $175 billion for schools. So here we will no doubt see some more debate on this topic, on the ever-changing landscape of planet stimulus that we all live on right now. The next topic he touched on was dealing with the economic slowdown. McConnell cited that there's been more than 1 million new unemployment claims every single week, and that's no lie. It's gone down slightly from week to week, decreasing by 10 to 30,000 per week, but we're still well over 1 million new claims every single week. He said jobs are a major focus and there will be several initiatives to support jobs and those who have lost jobs. However, on this point, he didn't offer any specifics as to how he plans to do so, and there was unfortunately no mention of additional unemployment benefits within this overview that he gave. So we're just going to have to wait a little while to see, once the full plan comes out, see the concrete details. This was really just an overview as to what to expect. Next, he mentioned a topic I've heard no mention of until today. He said his proposal proposes to reimburse businesses for additional expenses taken on for the COVID-19 pandemic. Things like purchasing masks for employees and those plastic dividers that we see at stores. There's going to be a plan in place to reimburse businesses for that. I think that's a good idea. It's not going to be super expensive, I don't think, in most cases. My business, I've probably spent under $1,000 for sure on this kind of thing, and I never thought that there would be any kind of reimbursement for this, so it's kind of neat. McConnell also touched on the next round of paycheck protection. He said within his proposal, there will be another round of paycheck protection for targeted businesses. We'll likely see tighter parameters, like showing a loss of more than 25 to 50% of revenue and a smaller number of employees. I know there's other proposals out there that say 50% of revenue loss and under 100 employees. There's some variations there, so we're probably going to see something around those lines. Again, we don't have specific details, but I like to hear that it is part of the plan, another round, because I think that's going to be really important for the economy. Now, on to the section you've all been waiting for, stimulus checks. Mitch McConnell confirmed there will be additional direct payments within his Senate relief proposal. I honestly was taken back for a second when I saw this. I was in the middle of working on something completely separate, read an article, and I was like, okay, I gotta make a video on this right now. You know, on my side of this, thinking about this every single day, hearing all of you who want and have needed this to happen for months, I'm just so happy to hear that it's on the proposal. The fact that it made it into the proposal with a goal size of $1 trillion means that this is really an important initiative for them to have as part of relief. Additional stimulus checks could make up to 30% of the entire bill if they're looking at a $1 trillion total cost, because the last round cost about $300 billion. Okay, let me calm down. Let me calm back this excitement a little bit for a second round and get back to reality here. The checks are confirmed in the Senate, in the Republican side of the Senate, I should say. This is huge, but we still have to remember this isn't completely voted in yet. My last estimates on if we'll get another check landed around 75% or so, which is good odds. I'm upping that estimate now to 95%. You know what? Let's call it 96% odds that we get another check. Those are pretty darn good odds, but I hesitate to say anything is 100% sure until it's actually voted in. I don't want to promise anything. And yeah, 96%. Looking at the facts, the House wants more checks. They voted it in through the HEROES Act, and they wanted $1,200 checks for everyone. The president wants stimulus checks. He's publicly voiced his support for this on at least 4 occasions now. And finally, the last piece of the puzzle, the Senate. Senate Republicans want more stimulus checks, and they are the majority in the Senate after all, so odds are it will be approved in the Senate. Things are looking really, really good for more stimulus checks. McConnell, again, unfortunately didn't offer much in way of specifics for the check, though. The questions we still have are, is there going to be that $40,000 a year income cap that we've heard of in the last couple of weeks? What will the dollar amount be? Is it going to be $1,200 again, or is it going to be larger and more generous than the first time? And when will we get it? The only one of those questions I think is most answerable at this time is when will we get it? Odds are a relief bill will be passed before the Senate's next recess in early August. And if a relief bill is passed in the next few weeks, this means people will likely start receiving their checks electronically in mid-August. I'm sure the situation will be very similar to last time, where a majority of people will get the payment quickly and electronically. Then those who received a paper check last time will likely receive another one this time, sometime in September, and that might even drag on to October, depending on if there's more complications there. I mean, there still are certain people who haven't received the first check, so I'm sure it's going to be drug out for certain individuals. But I think the majority will receive them quickly. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin has said that if more checks are coming, we will have the ability to get payments out quickly and efficiently, and I hope that that is the case once it comes to fruition. All in all, I'm just really excited about this and happy that all of those in need are even more likely now to get some relief than they were yesterday. That really makes me happy to be able to present this. Another thing that wasn't mentioned within McConnell's speech was the heated topic of a payroll tax holiday. President Trump is a huge fan of this, however, many others aren't so much in favor. I actually have a lot of information on this. I'm going to be putting out a separate video today on this subject, so stay tuned for that. There was just way too much to talk about to put in this video. Moving on from here, can we even move on from here? That part is just, it was just so nice to be able to present that finally. Anyways, the next topic is Mitch McConnell touched on healthcare, in which he said this is another one of our major focus areas. He said his plan will include more money for research and testing. The goal is to make the fastest vaccine in human history. From there, he spoke for a minute on liability protections. Here's how the Senate liability protections proposal is set to work right now. This is up for some changes. It will offer a 5-year liability shield backdated to December of 2019 and then go through the year of 2024. or the official end of the emergency health declaration by the Department of Health and Human Services, whichever date is later. And on its most simple level, businesses, colleges, schools, and churches would only be liable for injuries caused by the pandemic if they didn't make reasonable efforts to follow public health guidelines. I wasn't able to find exact examples of what reasonable effort means, but we can assume things like social distancing or those plastic shields that I mentioned earlier, masks, just basic protections. Basically, unless your entity is being negligent, you won't be held liable for pandemic-related injuries under this proposal. This proposal has raised concerns on the Democratic side of the aisle, though. They're questioning if it would prevent workers from being able to sue for unsafe working conditions. There really is a lot of nuances here. They're just the nuances of law. If something like this goes into effect, there's going to be a lot of defining as to what negligence means in these cases, and we just don't have all that information publicly quite yet. It seems we'll likely see some form of increased protection. However, if the House will agree to that level of protection is still up in the air. McConnell, he finished off by saying he doesn't believe there's anything in his bill that his Democratic members will not support. And if there are issues, of course, they are open for debate. I think that statement is mostly true. Democratic members will likely be all for school funding. I mean, they might want a little bit more funding. They'll be all for medical funding. It seems in the past that they were very open to helping businesses with the Paycheck Protection Program, so I don't see that changing much. We know on average, Democrats want more stimulus checks for the people. However, there may be some debate on if enhanced unemployment isn't included in the bill and at what level liability protections should be set at. Only time will tell here, but overall, this is a wonderful day for all things stimulus, and I'm just happy to be able to present it. That's all I have for right now. Please consider subscribing for more updates as this bill progresses through the Senate and we get more concrete details. Check out the link in my description for Webull to receive 2 completely free stocks valued between $12 and $1,400, completely free, and have a profitable day.